If you're doing chin tucks for nerve types of issues where you're having numbness and tingling in your hands and you're not getting any results, you might be doing it wrong. I'm gonna be so bold as to say you might be doing it wrong. My name is Huang. I'm an occupational therapist and certified hand therapist, and I work with a lot of people with hand and arm injuries, especially nerve types of issues. And a lot of times people think, oh, it's just in the hands, it's just in the hands. It's not just in the hands. The nerves come out of the neck, down the shoulder, down the arm, and affect our fingers and affect our hands. And so you might think, oh, it's all like a hand issue. But as a therapist, I look to rule out, is it a hand issue or is it a problem further up? If I find that the problem is further up, one of the things I'm going to do are chin tucks. And every single time I talk to my patients that come in who have gone to other therapy clinics before, I'm like, show me how you do your chin tucks, because that's when I can see whether they're doing it right or wrong. Let me share with you some of the things that I have found so that maybe you can put yourself in a better position to do them more correctly. So let me turn a little bit to the side because you're gonna wanna see it from the side. So a lot of times our chin tucks, right? Everyone tells you, listen, I paid a lot of money to not have a double chin, and here I am showing you my double chin, right? So you gotta show that double chin. However, I know how to position myself correctly to do it correctly, and I want to share that. I want you to position yourself correctly as well. So if you're slouch and you're trying to do it, look at my neck. If you're slouch and you're trying to do it, then your chin is correct, but it's shoving itself into bone on bone. It doesn't feel really good. It doesn't go anywhere. So if your posture's like this and your neck's like this and your chin, you're like, but my chin is even, and I'm gonna shove it back like that. It doesn't really go anywhere, and it doesn't do the work it's supposed to, which is to release the tension and the strangling of your nerves that go down to your hands. So one of the things you wanna do is you want to work on that positioning, right? You want to work on that positioning. Make sure you're sitting. I like to sit, let me scoot my chair forward. I like to sit in a chair. Actually, I like to sit in a chair that's a little bit higher. So if you can get a chair that's like up here, my chairs in the front office are a little bit higher. So I like to use that chair with my patients, but everyone's height's a little different. So I'm a little shorty and I can still do my chin tucks in this chair. This chair just has some give, right? It has some give. So, I like to teach my patients to sit in a chair and then have them be all the way leaned back like this, right? If you want to use something to support your lower back or your upper back, you can put this there, right there, and it's gonna give you a little bit more support. Perfect. So it's gonna give me a little bit more support to show you. I like this chair, it rocks a little bit. You don't need that in your life. You just want something that's going to pick you up, get that thoracic spine better, right? But some of you guys are still with your neck very forward. So we have 7 bones of your cervical spine is divided into an upper cervical and a lower cervical. And some of the lower cervical is just tilted forward, like it's very what we call in a flex position. So it's like as if your finger was bent like this, right? And if your finger is bent like that and you're trying to move the tip, then we would cause some deformities going on and we wouldn't be moving it very well. So the most important thing is making sure you're aware of your alignment. So if you're a little bit more forward, maybe when you're doing chin tucks, your chin is a little bit more down. So when you work to go back, you're a little bit more at an angle versus a straight back hitting bone on bone. Let me know if that makes sense. It's a little hard to see when you're doing it on your own. That's why it's one of the things that I really like to work on and practice with my patients. Actually, with my patients, I don't go straight to the neck when I find that it's a neck issue. I actually like to work on other parts of the spine to help loosen up the neck. So for example, if your finger, that was the wind. For example, if your finger, right? If you came into me for a finger problem, if the tip of your finger wasn't moving but your whole hand wasn't moving well, and I just stayed on the tip, I wouldn't be able to get all of the bones and the joints moving to be able to make a full fist and to be able to open. So the same goes with your spine. So if you think about it, your big knuckle is like your lumbar, your middle knuckle is like your thoracic spine, and then your little knuckle, which they're all really important, is where your cervical spine is. Sometimes it's worth it to work your big knuckle and your middle knuckle before, to loosen everything up, and then we can work your little knuckle. So sometimes I like to work with my lumbar spine, my thoracic spine, and then I'll get to my cervical spine. So if you're struggling with the cervical spine issue, make sure you're working with a therapist who isn't just hyper focused on like, oh, let me just move this one piece of bone, when we have a whole column of bones that we have to move and make sure everything is moving well. All right, so check out my thoracic spine videos, because that can help. You can do some of those videos before you do this one, right? I think the order in which you do things makes a big difference so that you can do it well. You know, if you couldn't move and I threw some weights on you to lift heavy, you wouldn't feel so good and you wouldn't get results. You'd actually get hurt, right? So if you think about it, here's your chin. If you had really good posture, you could drive that all the way back. And then don't be afraid to go through the whole motion. So you see the middle knuckle, right? Well, the little knuckle sits on top of the middle knuckle, right? The little knuckle sits on top of the middle knuckle. So when you're going to open and straighten it and going into extension, you can move everything. So don't be afraid of, like, some people are like, I can't move anything, right? It's okay. Take that chin and drive it back. And it's okay if the shoulders go back a little bit too, right? It's okay if the shoulder goes back a little bit too. And that is a really good chin tuck. So it's about positioning. Make sure the whole spine is positioned well, right? Make sure your chin alignment is correct based on your spine alignment, because your spine alignment, I haven't seen it, might not be as good as mine that I'm demonstrating. And you'll see a lot of people in the video showing you stuff, they know how to move their shit. That's why they look good in moving it, but you might not move it as well. That's why it's important sometimes to, you know, move off of these free videos and get with a therapist in your local area that knows what they're doing, so they can look and see where you are and help you get better results faster. These are just introductory types of videos to show you what's possible, right? So positioning, posture, make sure you're moving in correct alignment, and then make sure you move through the whole range of motion, a whole range. And your chin, where your chin sits based on everything else, it's a really big component of being able to do your chin tucks well. And they do work. They can help to alleviate a lot of hand numbness types of issues. There's just one exercise in a multitude of different ones that can help overall improve hand numbness, because it's a little bit more complex than do this one exercise and you're gonna get better. All right, this is just to help you get started. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below for me. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this.